Donald Trump has been using pardons to try to bribe powerful individuals that he thinks he's going to receive favors from in return. And as he pardons billionaire after billionaire, expecting for them to serve him right after, in his mind, if he thinks he saves them from their own corruption, they'll continue to be corrupt for him. These pardons are starting to now backfire as people don't actually like or respect Donald Trump. Fact of the matter is, there are people out there in the world whose souls cannot be bought. They stick to their integrity and they try to do what's right in every aspect of their life, and no dollar amount is going to change that aspect of them. They are loyal to themselves and helping others before being loyal to a dictator who is destroying everything. It's also unbecoming of a president to try to use a pardon to gain favor or loyalty from somebody, rather than doing what's actually right and giving somebody a second chance because he believes in his heart that is truly what that person deserves. But no, instead he treats it like he treats everybody around him and Americans as a whole. If you cannot do anything for Donald Trump, he throws you away like a piece of trash. And if you are loyal to Donald Trump, the second you are no longer loyal, he will have his fans send you death threats, as he's had with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And when he was asked about these death threats, because Marjorie Taylor Greene texted him and a news reporter asked him about these, Trump simply said, "I don't care, she's Marjorie Taylor Brown." And this is why the young vote is leaving Donald Trump, Gen Z is walking away from him, and Americans as a whole are turning their backs on him because Donald Trump has turned his back on them. He promised Americans a better future and only created a better future for billionaires while destroying their current realities and are lying to their faces about what's going to happen, only nothing ever happens. Now, Trump is having a meltdown because he pardoned this man right here who was federally charged for taking bribes and money laundering and acting as an agent for foreign principals as he was a congressman, taking over $600,000 in bribes, and he is a Democrat. However, Trump saw this and said, wow, he is just like me, and pardoned him immediately, blaming Joe Biden for the actions of this person, saying he was getting locked up for no reason when he quite literally betrayed his country. And this pardon came with a bunch of billionaires Trump also pardoned for the same thing, bribery and money laundering, because he wants a group of corrupt individuals around him. If he can gain favor from these people, he thinks he can get them to do the same crimes for him with his protection. Because right as he pardoned them, thinking he was gaining a new loyalist in Congress, Trump made this post saying, "For years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after a highly respected Congressman, Cuellar, bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman and even the congressman's wonderful wife Imelda simply for speaking the truth. It is un-American. As I previously stated, the radical left Democrats are a complete and total threat to democracy. They will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far left agenda, an agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. Because of these facts and others, I'm hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Imelda. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over." Not only does that messaging say to foreign countries, hey, I, Donald Trump, do accept bribes. We do money launder over here. We see that Trump only does things that does not benefit the American people, but actually harms the American public, but helps him in return. And you would think somebody with billions of dollars wouldn't need more money, but this is about power and control. Because instead of putting people in office that actually want to help our country, you, me, and everybody else, they are all focused on enriching their own pockets at the detriment of everybody else. There should be no reason a hardworking American has to suffer at the hands of billionaires. With this behavior, we see how many billionaires came into their wealth by screwing over the hardworking American, because most of these people operate off of bribes and blackmail. We saw it with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's relationship, and we see it with the ones he's trying to manufacture right now. Because after this man got pardoned by Trump, he didn't turn into a slave for him, so Trump made another post, because I guess Trump expected him to turn Republican and bow down to him and neglect everybody for him. However, here is his response to Donald Trump's attempt to bribe him and what he plans to do now. Let's take a look at this clip.
Considered switching parties?
Look, I'm a Democrat. I'm probably one of the most, if not the most, bipartisan Democrat. And as I told some of my Republican friends on the House floor, I vote better than some of the Republicans in the Republican caucus, and they agree with me. I just feel that, you know, I follow the words of President LBJ, where he said many years ago, I'm an American, I'm a Texan, and I'm a Democrat, in that order. And I think anybody that puts party before their country is doing a disservice to their country.
Okay, but President Trump is out with a new Truth Social today on your decision to run again as a Democrat, and the president is saying, oh, well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. He's talking about the fact that you are going to continue to work with the same radical left Democrats. What do you want to say about the president's Truth Social this morning?
Well, again, let me just say this. I was at church this morning with my wife. I prayed for the president. I prayed for his family. And I prayed for the presidency, because if the president succeeds, the country succeeds. And again, as probably the most bipartisan individual, I don't vote party. I vote for what's right for the country. And in fact, you know, when I got that rate by the Biden administration, they did it 40 days before a primary, where the far left had spent we're spending total about $20 million that we know of on that. So they did this right before that. So again, I am a conservative Democrat, but I will work with the president. I've reached out to his administration. I've told them, you know, name the folks, you know, Tom Homan, Christie, other folks that say, hey, can we sit down? I'd love to sit down and see where we can find common ground. I sit on defense appropriations. I sit on homeland appropriations. And if I can work and find common ground, then I certainly want to do that.
I think we all heard it loud and clear that this guy is confused. However, we are used to Trump using fear to control our government. Last we checked, it is illegal to take or give bribes in the government, and Trump clearly is using pardons as bribes, which is conspiracy to overthrow the government, yet another charge for when he gets impeached come midterms. However, we see he's trying to do a hostile takeover. He is trying to use this man right here as an undercover Democrat that just votes Republican, because remember, when the government was shut down, he paid these 8 Democratic senators $1 million each in a clause to reopen the government and take the blame. These Democratic senators turned on the American people, and we will not forget their names or their faces. This is because Trump knows what is to come when midterms arrive. He has already said on tape himself, Democrats are going to win the midterms and we are screwed. Let's go to that clip. Now, these confessions come just after Trump lost the election back in November, where it was a Democratic sweep out with Mamdani winning New York City and the other Democrats winning in other cities. Trump got on camera and said, we need to terminate the filibusters. At this rate, the Democrats are going to win midterms. And even Mike Johnson got on stage saying the same exact thing. They know what's coming. Let's take a look at this clip.
President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority, if the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027. And they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people.
Absolutely, and that will be a great win for America. Because when the price of everything has increased 4 times and over the past 20 years and minimum wage stays the exact same, we have a serious problem. When adults have to move back into their parents because paying rent just isn't worth it anymore, or they can't afford it as a whole, or they can, but they have to have roommates, we have a serious problem. And instead of these problems being addressed, our president is taking bribes and giving pardons to people that also take bribes and work with foreign countries to money launder and further enrich themselves. How do they actually think they're going to stay in power when they haven't done a single thing for Americans? Because when you screw over multiple generations, so much to the point that the newest ones, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, have no hope for the future, you are not doing your job correctly. And when the president's loyalty lies with billionaires over working class America that allows billionaires to be billionaires, of course they know they're going to lose the midterms. At least let Americans' hard work be worth it. Something needs to be worth it in the end. Instead, they want to get rid of Social Security, raise the retirement age, fly in people with college degrees from other countries and telling people in America college isn't worth it, don't go. But these same billionaire sons that work for President Trump are all being sent to college. Why ruin an American population for your own benefit when you have everything? And when you refuse to hear the cries and troubles of these Americans, that is exactly why we do not and will not support Donald Trump. There is no reality where America wins as a whole, only the oligarchy Trump has created. And as we slowly slip into a dictatorship dictatorship with what little we already have, if he really thinks Americans are going to sit by and allow that to happen to their country, then his dementia must be working overtime. And so after Trump pardoned him and didn't get 100% loyalty, because this guy has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, he's saying I could potentially be bought, but that's not enough for Trump. He wants complete and total allegiance. Submit. Trump makes this post. Can you imagine the Democrats under the crooked Joe Biden administration, who always use extreme force and jail time to destroy their political opponent, wanted to put Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda in prison for 15 years, which I predicted these radical left lunatics would do. And they never stopped wanting to fulfill this evil quest. The Dems mercilessly went after Henry with everything they had. They were looking to destroy him, his lovely wife, his 2 young daughters, and anyone close to them. Now let's get to the bribe part, to where Trump thought he was going to gain total allegiance. The Dems were vicious, and all because Henry strongly wanted correctly border security. He was against illegals pouring into our country totally unchecked and unvetted. The congressman didn't want gang members, drug dealers, violent prisoners, people from mental institutions, and yes, even murderers. His daughters wrote me a beautiful letter about their parents. After reading it, I decided in the interest of justice and based on the daughters' loving request that I would give Henry and Imelda a full and complete pardon. I never spoke to the congressman, his wife, or his daughters, but felt very good about fighting for a family that was tormented by very sick and deranged people. They were treated so badly, I signed the papers and said to the people in the Oval Office that I just did a very good, perhaps life-saving thing. God was very happy with me that day. Weird way to speak for God. Then it happened. Only a short time after signing the pardon, Congressman Henry Cuellar announced that he will be running for Congress again in the great state of Texas as a Democrat, continuing to work with the same radical left scum that just weeks before wanted him and his wife to spend the rest of their lives in prison, and probably still do. Such a lack of loyalty, something that Texas voters and Henry's daughters will not like. Oh well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy or President Donald J. Trump. Basically sending a message trying to scare him that he may be going back to prison without the president's support, because as we know, Trump uses the DOJ against all of his political adversaries, or who he even insinuates to be a political adversary, which is just somebody who has their own independent thought and does not subscribe to the cult. If you cannot be bribed by Donald Trump, you are his political adversary off rip. This gives very great insight into everybody who works for Donald Trump. Everybody who works for Donald Trump, Trump has dirt on. They've sold their soul for a paycheck, and they take the fall when things go south, as we see with Pete Hegseth blaming his strikes on an admiral that we've never heard of, after Pete Hegseth was taking responsibility for all of the strikes, saying we need to kill people. These people are not loyal to anybody. So it is unimaginable that MAGA is still loyal to them, but after years of programming, I imagine it's hard to deprogram yourself and admit you've been lied to for years. When in the history of America have people who make $30,000 a year defended with their life PDFs, PDF supporters, and billionaires? Because the only ones we know to do that are Nazis, which says a lot about the remainder of MAGA. Because as we've seen with the racist Cinnabon lady, they started a give, send, go. This is an update to that situation, and so far they've raised $54,000 for her. This woman was extremely unprofessional, was messing around, and was being extremely racist, flipping off customers and showing her rear end, and these people are giving her money. This is what MAGA is. These are the remainders of MAGA. A bunch of Nazis spending the money they don't have to support other Nazis. But you know what? If they want to be broke and stupid together, let them. They do this for a reaction because they base their entire reality based off of how mad they can make other people. Because they hate themselves so much, the only way they can feel better is by trying to make somebody else feel the same hate they feel for themselves. Bear in mind that Crystal Therese Wilson, the Cinnabon worker who was fired for her racism, also endangered children 3 times and has a criminal record. She ended up getting fired by Cinnabon because this is unacceptable anywhere. Not only her demeanor and behavior and how she's treating a customer, but also the blatant and terrible racism. And in case you missed that video or just need a recap, here it is right here.
I am racist.
So idiot for
And
real. You are an idiot. No,
I
I'm
am
not.
racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
You ruin your life, by the way.
Oh, talking about
Bye.
you talking about respect? You talking about respect? You are fired from this place, motherfucker. You're not gonna be working here.
Suck it.
Suck what? Look how you
Suck
fucking look
it.
like.
What's wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking ugly bitch? Get the fuck out of
Ugly?
my face.
Talking about ugliness?
Did I stutter?
I will never get over, did I stutter? As we all watch her stutter. And with that, we see the remainder of MAGA, who they support and what they're all about. out. It shouldn't be too surprising that people who aren't racist don't want to support somebody like Donald Trump, because this is the remainder of his fan base after it came out that he was in the Epstein files. And although this person was clearly out of place for a multitude of reasons, we see that the only people supporting her are also people that support PDF's child endangerment. They are PDF supporters and they are Nazis. They are also possibly the most hateful group of individuals in America and are very un-American. Now we'll let Nazis be Nazis and let our society continue to grow without them, as they ruin their own lives and will never work again in any big organization in America. I would actually be much happier that Nazis hang out with Nazis and don't pretend to try to integrate with the rest of society. And if they do try to expose their ugly little heads, we will shun them out of existence. And any company that supports this or these types of people or defends it in any way, shape, or form will be exiled from our wallets. Let's see how profitable it is to support Nazis. Actually, let's not do that. Everything Donald Trump does backfires on him. Everything MAGA does trying to copy Donald Trump backfires on them. And as we've seen here, they are having full-blown public meltdowns. Trump can't stop typing on his keyboard. And then he ruins his own fans' lives as they just copy whatever he does. The only problem for them is they don't have presidential immunity. So they'll actually go to prison for their crimes. They'll actually get fired for their crimes. There's actual consequences when you're not a billionaire president. People in this country deserve better. So instead of focusing on bribes, money laundering, power and control, and buying respect, maybe Trump should consider gaining actual respect by doing right by the people he's supposed to be supporting. And if he can't even do that for MAGA as he continues to lie to them, gaslight them, manipulate them into hatred and divisiveness, what the hell can he do for the rest of America? Nothing. Dividing and conquering only works on the easily manipulated, and most of America have woken up to Trump's games. And for him, it is all downhill from here. There is nothing that he can do that we do not see right through. And so every single time he lies, we will be here to tell the truth. And with that being said, release the unredacted Epstein files, Donald Trump, and you cannot pardon your way out of this midterm loss. Do the right thing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. And when one of your own prior loyalists, Nick Fuentes, turns against you, when Marjorie Taylor Greene turns against you, when Tucker Carlson turns against you, when everybody turns against you, taking a portion of MAGA with them, you know you've royally screwed up. But these people have watched Trump turn his back on the closest people to him that helped him get elected. He did it to Elon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, not great people, but he still backstabbed them. He even says something good about Nick Fuentes, and here's what Nick Fuentes had to say in response to Trump, calling him out for his corruption just like everybody else. Let's take a look at this clip.
Actually, their intentional playbook. They're deeply conscientious of this. And this is how it goes. What is happening right now, obviously, is that Trump is more unpopular maybe than ever. Certainly he's more unpopular than at any other time in this second term. His favorability is in the toilet. His approval is in the toilet. Specifically, his approval on immigration and the economy is very bad. For the first time in years, voters actually favor Democrats on the economy over Republicans. People blame Trump for the state of the economy more than they blame Biden. Any way that you cut it, Trump is in real trouble with these numbers. Numbers polling his own base, polling Republicans, independents. Any way you cut it, it is catastrophically bad. And he has only himself to blame. We're cutting Medicaid to pay for corporate tax cuts. Doge was a total failure. We're bombing Iran. Prices have not gone down, and the economy has not recovered. The tariffs have been a complete disaster. There are mounting signs all over the economy. We're in a real estate bubble. Consumer spending is slowing. The job market is frozen. They're not even releasing the jobs report in October. On top of all that, they didn't even release the Epstein files. So it is a total disaster. That is why he's unpopular, and it's self-inflicted. It is because rather than keep his promises, all that this administration has done is enrich the people that are in it. There is rampant, basically criminal levels of corruption in this government. The very people that Trump brought in to drain the swamp, they're looting D.C. They're taking everything that isn't nailed down practically. They're fucking stealing. They are corrupt. That is all these people. You know, why do you think they brought these people in? Someone like Howard.
When your own MAGA is telling you MAGA is done, MAGA is done. You can only be corrupt for so long until everybody leaves you and all you have left of your fan base is other corrupt, broken, hateful individuals. They see in Trump what they see in themselves, only they don't have the funds to be him.